Okay, welcome. And I'd now like to introduce you to Nickolas Wildstar from Fresno, who's also running for governor. Nickolas, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, Roger. It's a pleasure to speak with you.
Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your campaign?
Absolutely. My name again is Nickolas Wildstar. I'm a longtime activist here in California, boots on the ground activist. So if I look familiar, that's probably why to some people. I've protested recently in a reopened California protest. But as I said, have been around since the Occupy Wall Street movement here in California, protested against police brutality, for women's rights, against genetically modified foods and so on. So I've done my best to stay involved in making sure that I'm protesting against causes and concerns that matter the most to the people of the community. I've also been involved in cleanup projects and feeding the homeless, etc. So as I said, I make sure that I stay as involved with the community directly as possible. And I have been doing that consistently over the past 10 years and running for office in the interim. I ran for Fullerton City Council, I ran for Fresno Mayor, and I ran for Governor of California twice before this. I ran in 2014 as an independent candidate, and then in 2018, I was the Libertarian candidate for governor. So this time around, I'm running as a Ron Paul Republican and hoping that I'll be able to take the governor's office in this recall election.
Great. Can you tell me why it is that you're running? What is it that's kind of motivated you to enter the race?
Well, seeing the failure of leadership in our community, I had lived in Fullerton during the time I had first ran for governor, and I watched the homeless population swell from a few hundred people to thousands, where they had overwhelmed the area near the Angel Stadium and actually had built encampments along the riverbed there. So um, between that and of course watching the taxes and cost of living skyrocket and cost me and my family an arm and a leg, I felt, and instead of me complaining, as most people do about the issues, that I'd actually get involved. And with me always having, again, been involved in the community, I felt like the best person suited to represent the people is an actual person that's out there with the people, instead of, the elitist oligarchs that we see claiming public office positions now, like Gavin Newsom. So especially with homelessness, that's something that's near and dear to me, because of my own life experiences and brushes with having to shuffle around from place to place, not having a permanent residence. And with Gavin Newsom's solutions, in particular, over the last year, he spent hundreds of millions of taxpayers' money putting homeless people in hotels temporarily. And of course, that's not a permanent fix to the solution. And it's caused more problems than good, since those hotels now have become a bit ran down. And also with regards to the cost, we're overspending on making sure these people stay in the hotel room each and every month. So my plan is to actually build homes, 3D printed homes. This 3D printed technology exists right now, and you can build a home using it. And these homes can cost less than $10,000. Some models can be built in 24 hours and is self-sustainable, has its own water and power. So it's a one and done type of a expense. And I think we'd be better off paying for that as taxpayers, instead of the 10 by 10 foot containment spaces that is being purchased right now by Gavin Newsom, that is costing taxpayers between $100,000 and $300,000 per unit. No bathroom, no kitchen. It's just a area, and it's reminiscent of a jail cell. And that's something else that we definitely need to be paying attention to, is the recidivism rate, the amount of crime that's going up because of repeat offenders, violent offenders that are being released back onto the streets due to Gavin Newsom's policies. So we need to be protecting our communities, which is why I also plan on making California a constitutional carry state. That way we can reinstate our right to protect ourselves as other states have. And a lot of people are leaving the state of California and going to uh, gun haven states like Texas and tax haven states as well, which is why I plan on canceling taxes for all income earners in the state. And this is all taxes: income tax, sales tax, property tax. No state taxes will be collected during the next year while I'm in office, so the people of California can enjoy an economic reprieve. And I think that'll be best suited to help jumpstart our economy and get it back going again, opposed to passing out stimulus checks.
Yeah, great. Well, I think you're really on to something with the construction. Modular building now is just the future. And for example, in China, I know they can put up buildings in a fraction of the time that it used to take because of this new technology.
Exactly.
It makes perfect sense that California, being the center of the technology universe, ought to be embracing new and inefficient technologies. So that sounds like a great suggestion. You touched on a couple of other topics, migration from a state. I wonder if I could shift gears here a little bit. One of the issues that has really been concerning people is just because of COVID and the mask mandates. Mask in schools. Schools have now started today, just in San Francisco, to reopen. And of course, forced vaccinations in San Francisco, for example, and some other cities, vaccination cards are going to be required to just get into a public business. What is your view on that? And what would you do as governor in that regard on a state level?
Well, I definitely do not support any mandates being forced upon us by this governor and state officials. So we'll be canceling those mandates once I'm elected. And so people won't be forced to wear masks or get a COVID-19 vaccination or provide proof of that vaccination. It's all a violation of our personal rights as well as our medical privacy. We have that right, and we have God-given rights as well that is being violated because of that. So no mandates with me in office, and I will be banning any future mandates or recommendations or legislation that may come across my desk as governor. Now, with regards to having parents have to send their kids to school and have them wear a mask, I think that choice should be up to parents and educators, without the state being involved and again passing on any type of guidelines that they must abide by and enforce. If parents choose to send their kids to school with or without a mask, that's their choice. And the educators should also have that choice as well. Now, with what's happening in our state and all state employees being forced to get vaccinated because of Gavin Newsom's recent policy change, I will definitely be reversing that as well. I don't think that any state employee should have to be forced to deal with such a thing as well. And I also think that we should be reopening our state fully, reopen our schools, reopen our churches, reopen our businesses, parks, beaches, playgrounds, anything else that dictator Gavin Newsom has decided to shut down for no reason at all. So if we reverse the policies, everything wrong that he's pretty much done while he's been governor of California, I think we'd be better off and would be on the path to recovering from what has happened to our economy and his bad governorship.
Okay. So, there are about 45 candidates running in this election. I wonder if you could tell me, what is it that distinguishes you from most of these other candidates? And why should people be electing you?
Well, as I said, I think when it comes to serving the people of California, I have the most genuine intentions to do exactly that. I'm not beholden to anyone else, any special interest group or union or organization or lobbying group or whatever the case may be. I've always worked closely with the people of California, and that's how I plan on governing, is by making sure that the policies that are introduced are always known and understood by the people of California, as well as have a part in making that policy itself, which is why I've already started that process. My policy advisor, Daryl Cotton, he actually owns a company called 151 Farms in San Diego. And this is a closed aquaponic farming system that I plan on using once I'm governor through my Go New Deal to help beautify California and bring low cost, low water usage farming to the state of California. These are farming units that can build, a pound of apples and oranges and whatever fruits and vegetables that you could ever ask for, using about 5% water. So it's soilless farming, and it's something that we could definitely utilize right now, especially with this drought knocking at our door, or better yet, here at our doorsteps and causing damage with these wildfires. So if we want to be able to cover all bases and make sure that we're well prepared for the worst, because that's what's happened over the past year, is we've experienced the worst with the coronavirus crisis, the economic downturn because of it, the wildfires, our kids not able to be educated as they once were before, families, businesses shut down, leaving the state. We need to bounce back somehow. And the best way to do that is, again, to have a governor that's in office that's going to restore our liberties, restore our freedom, and protect them along the way. No other person is better suited to do that other than myself.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, that touches on a lot of topics. I know out in Fresno, water is a big issue, and yeah, you're on to something with aquaponics, hydroponics, and agriculture that uses less water. So last question, I think I'm a big fan of ag tech, so I'm with you on that.
All right, good to know.
Last question for you is, if somebody wants to learn more about your campaign or support your campaign or just get a hold of you, how do they do that?
Visit my website, wildstar2022.com. I don't know if you can see it, but that is my website, wildstar2022.com. I was one of the first candidates to declare my candidacy for the 2022 campaign, and was a volunteer collecting signatures to remove Gavin Newsom from office as a petitioner. So I let people know that, hey, once this recall happens, because I was confident that it was and would, that I would be running in that special election. So here I am. But that website is still directed to wildstar2022.com, so people can get involved with the campaign now. Please fill out a pledge card. I'm in need of volunteers. As I said, I'm a grassroots activist and am 100% crowd funded. So if you'd like to make a contribution, it's desperately needed so we can help combat Gavin Newsom and his hundreds of millions of dollars and his multi-million-dollar donors, like, the Netflix guy and George Soros and others. So we have to put our money where our mouth is and protest with our dollars as well as our vote. So if you want to get rid of the establishment, restore our liberties, and take us into the future and have a new bright California like never seen before, then please visit my website, wildstar2022.com. Join Team Wildstar. Go wild, of course, and let's bring back liberty to California.
All right. Well, thank you very much for being here.
It's a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for having me.